Well, everybody, welcome back. Sport Federation TV. We carry on talking about sport in the Western Cape and the different sport codes, and of course, slowly we're starting to see our sports get back in action after COVID has been, of course, had such a devastating effect on sport with no training and no competitions. Lots of administrative processes, but in the last few weeks we've slowly seen some of the sports getting back to either training or competition. And one of the sports that's of course been very active, they've been busy behind the scenes, and some competitions and training have slowly, like I say, got back on track. And he's been on the show with us before. We're getting him back on now. Western Cape Tug of War patron Anton Botha. Anton, welcome back. Nice to see you back on the show.
Thank you, JP. Always good to talk to you guys.
Yeah, Anton. So let's go back about a month now. A few weeks ago, you had a big, for the folks obviously that haven't been watching. A few weeks ago, you had your first one back on the cards with a club championships at Hartenbos, right?
That is correct, JP. The National Club Championships, very, very successful at Hartenbos.
So let's just run through that again. How many clubs did you have there? Do we know yet who the winning club was?
Yes, so we had about 18 clubs there, a smaller number than usual. The top club then was Hartenbos Club, so the home club taking that. And then, of course, in the second division, our club championships is in two divisions: the Premier or First Division, and the President or Second Division was a developing club, Kimberley Pirates from the Northern Cape. They won the President's Division.
Well, I think you did say that you expected some big challenges from outside of the regular winners.
Yes, well, it did not totally materialize. I must say I was expecting a little bit more from the Postmasburg club. But yes, they're also still a developing club, and I foresee still big things to come from there.
Is that something? I mean, is that something that can happen? That you've got a home ground advantage? That, I mean, we know what it's like in stadiums where you've got your crowd and your fans and things like that. And of course, in this case, there's no spectators and things are reduced. But can you have a home ground advantage? I mean, is it not a fact of grass is grass?
No, not entirely. The grass do differ, and there's definitely in Tug of War home ground advantage. Over and above, there were no spectators this time round, but they were there in numbers. I think there are about 57 club members in total, and believe me, it pretty much sounded like being at the stadium. So they pretty much had most of the support as well.
That's fantastic. I suppose it's also a question of, you know, the area and you get comfortable with the environment. So when you're at a high performance level, all those little things do make a difference and can play in your favor. So it's interesting that we did in fact see there with the home club, and they must be very proud of that. I mean, for the home club walking away with a title.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it bodes well for Hartenbos. The sort of upswing in the sport in that general area, which is also good because in 2026 we are bidding to bring the World Championships to Hartenbos, in fact. So it's also great to see then if the local community also fits in and support, and the sport is also well established in that region.
You had Western Cape champs in Robertson.
That is correct, yeah. Last Saturday, we had the very, very successful Western Cape Championships in Robertson, yes.
So, Anton, then at the Western Cape Champs, how did we do? Obviously, Western Cape did well because it was a Western Cape Championships, but who came out top of the pile there?
Western Province took everything there. They put in a very, very concerted effort. They took men's overall, ladies overall, and of course then also the overall winners of the day was Western Province.
So home ground advantage, in fact, then not working for Cape Winders.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately for them.
Unfortunately for them, but it still sounds like it was a vibrant exercise. I mean, it's so great to have the athletes competing again. It really is the kind of stuff we've been waiting for months now, and being able to again talk about competition and all the dynamics of that. Your next big one now, SA Championships.
That's correct. Next week, and this time round, we really have home ground advantage. It is here in Strand at the Helderberg Tug of War grounds, Saturday, November the 21st.
So that's on Saturday, November the 21st. Obviously, still not open to the public.
Yes, unfortunately, not open for the public.
And again, same question again, Anton. Who will be participating then at the SA Champs?
Pretty much teams from across South Africa. We've got Griquas coming down from the Northern Cape. Priest, I just heard Gauteng is coming down. Again, not all the provinces are up and running again. Northwest, unfortunately, not coming down. But still, we will have a full field of tug of war from about half the provinces in South Africa this time round.
So this is slightly different now to the club championships. This is now where you actually have the provincial teams in their provincial setup competing.
That is absolutely correct. Yeah, this is high performance level. This is Western Province against Winelands, against Gauteng North. That is the level. Interprovincial, yes.
Any ideas who's going to come out on the top yet?
Well, I think the two local regions, I think Western Province and Eden is going to be the two regions to watch. But being from Cape Town, I believe it will be Western Province.
I know that's an unfair question, but of course we are starting to build these little profiles that we can kind of see how we're doing and how we're competing, and so it really is fantastic. Have you had much engagement from the competitors from the other regions about their excitement to be back on the park?
Yeah, no, absolutely. The feedback has been phenomenal. Really, the athletes are glad to be back on the rope. And as we progress, even from clubs, just more and more clubs and regions that weren't in from August already, they just started getting in on it. So definitely the motivation is growing and the excitement is growing.
Yeah. Anton, just the last question. We know, of course, that you guys are very strong in the school sports structures where you've got a lot of different schools doing tug of war. You've had enormous success internationally with world championship titles for schools tug of war, or junior teams, shall I say. Any news yet on schools maybe being allowed to be training again? Have we kind of got any information out on that side yet?
Yes, we received the feedback that the schools got the go-ahead now that they can start training. So, and quite a number of schools have started training. They already starting end of January with their season. We have a training camp 23rd of January. So we pretty much just carry on. Even through December, the kids and everyone will be training, getting ready for that.
Well, that's great news. That's fantastic. We know that a lot of the sports that have now kind of been allowed back into training, or even if we look in the rugby spaces and the football spaces, they are in fact are competing right through the holidays. So
yeah, that's absolutely like that. One thing I can say is I'm very excited that our COVID protocols has been working so well. We've been busy since August. We had one positive athlete case, but in terms of the COVID protocols, because we were following that diligently, we had no further outbreak. We consolidated or isolated that single athlete. We got well within the 2 weeks. So that's been very positive. So it shows that if you abide by the protocols, you can effectively do the sport.
Oh, well, that's great news, Anton, because obviously that is to be our first priority, and it's great to hear that you've got your plans in place and that your athletes and administrators are all abiding by that, because we have to do our very best on all levels to make sure that we prevent the spread of COVID. So we know that our sports structures are very organized in terms of those protocols. But Anton, we're going to leave it at that. We'll say thanks again for joining us here on Sport Federation TV, and we're looking forward to finding out what the results are from the SA Champs then on the 21st of November.
Thank you, JP. Always a pleasure.
There we go, folks. Anton Botha, patron for Western Cape Tug of War, and great to see that they are slowly returning back to competition and training, and hopefully the schools will get back in place soon, and of course great to see that they have got such strict COVID regulations and protocols in place. Folks, don't go away. When we come back from the break, we carry on talking about sport in the Western Cape. Back in a sec.